Have you heard of a game called Football? Yeah, probably not, but it's actually a really fascinating story. It all started with the 2006 French animated show Galactic Football. It was pretty well received internationally, and the French liked it so much they wanted to play the fictional sport of galactic football in real life. And there actually is pretext for this. Following the release of Hatsune Miku's Harry Potter series, the in-universe sport of Quidditch was adapted into a real sport only a year prior in 2005. Hang on a minute, you might say. The show is called Galactic Football, but the sport is only called football? What the hell? Well, you see, the galactic part comes from the sci-fi setting and the superpowers and stuff, so you couldn't really keep it. But at the end of the day, the conversion from fictional galactic football to real football has been a successful one. It's got the hallmarks of every prestigious sport: spectacle, technique, strategy, money, corruption, money, corruption, money. In spite of all that, there are some ways to improve this fledgling sport. The purpose of this very video is to outline ideas for a bigger, badder, and better version of football. This is Football 2. In my opinion, football has three aspects that need work: pacing, power-ups, and a secret third one we'll get to later. So let's get right into it. What do I mean by pacing? Well, in any given football game, there's a lot of time spent on not much in particular. You know, guys are running across the middle of the pitch with the ball, sometimes passing it back, blah blah blah. You don't really want to watch that shit, do you? You want to watch people scoring goals. What kind of sport allows a game to end with a result like this? You mean to tell me 22 men ran around a pitch for 90 minutes and no one accomplished anything? Frankly, that is appalling, and it needs to change. And how do we do that? Easy. You can't have games where everyone just runs across the middle of the pitch all the time if there is no middle of the pitch. Okay, well that's geometrically impossible. What I'm getting at is, we just make the pitch smaller. There's less neutral ground, more heart-pumping action, and we can finally abolish the idea of nil. So that's how we can make the average football game faster. But even the faster games in football are kind of stop and start because of one aspect of the game. I am of course talking about throw-ins. When the ball leaves the boundaries of the pitch, it's up to a player to throw it back in and resume play. Now what I want to know is, why are we still using human labor to accomplish this mundane task instead of engineering a solution like we do with literally everything else? My solution is very simple. Just put a little wall down. Not a particularly high one either, like 1 or 2 meters. That way if some idiot kicks it out of bounds, the ball will just bounce back into play. This has another very important benefit: ricochet. Imagine the glory you could get from absolutely boinking the ball into the boundary wall and getting it into the enemy's goal. Wouldn't that be fucking awesome? And get this, because the wall isn't that high, you can still have your throw-ins when someone inevitably launches the ball into the stratosphere. But this time, you are doing it from a 2-meter high wall. More power, more distance. Football. The next category I want to discuss is power-ups, which is strange because they don't exist in football. And indeed, they're not really a thing in real-life sports, but we're pioneers here at the Kazmord YouTube channel. That begs the question, how exactly would you implement power-ups into a real-life sport? For example, a lot of racing games have a speed boost power-up. But how would you even make something that allows footballers to suddenly get faster than their 100% running speed? I truly do see your well-founded sense of skepticism, but I raise you copious amounts of amphetamines. Yes, I realize the head honchos of sport are trying very hard to remove performance-enhancing drugs from the game, but I like to think that there is an alternate universe where they just don't give a shit. With your help, that universe could become this universe. Football 2, everybody. But say that's a bit too risque for you. We can take a page from Albert Einstein's book and approach the problem from a relativistic perspective. Instead of making you faster than your opponent by speeding you up, what if you slowed your opponent down? Because this is Football 2, we can't resort to weak-willed, wishy-washy half measures. This needs to be impactful. This needs to be consequential. We need a fucking taser in football. My proposal is simple. When you find yourself at the wrong end of a painful slide tackle, instead of getting a free kick or whatever, you get handed a taser with enough juice for one good shock. Nothing encourages fair play like the fear of God. So now at this juncture, we've reached the final aspect of football that needs an overhaul. It has to do with one of football's most prominent and practiced features: lying. You know what I'm talking about. It's that thing footballers do when they feel a strong breeze and collapse to the ground like they've just been kamehameha'd. There have been attempts to make the sport more transparent with things like the VAR system, but I feel like this is a wasted opportunity. Generations of footballers have built up incredible acting chops just for the sake of the sport, and you want to do away with it entirely? No, 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 this won't do. Football too is not a regular sport. This is war. And war is based on deception. I want to bleed every single drop of emotion out of these damn players through the passion of their performance. Never mind man of the match, we need a filthy liar of the match award where the most convincing liar in the game gets away with their dirty tricks scot-free. But of course we don't want to flood the market. If you make a shitty job of it and the ref calls your bluff, the ref has the full right to tase you so you can actually cry some real tears. What better way to add drama to a sport than to, well, literally add drama to the sport? And there we have it. Those are all three aspects covered. To summarize, we make the pitch more close and personal, we add walls for epic ricochet plays, we incorporate performance enhancers and/or tasers, and we elevate lying from a de facto aspect of football to a crowning jewel of the new and improved Football 2. So what do you think of my innovations? Let me know in the comments. If you like what you see, go ahead and like the video and subscribe to my channel.